Have you ever held a simple quarter in your hand and wondered if that tiny piece of metal could secretly be worth millions? Welcome back to the channel where we explore the hidden gems of American coinage and dive deep into the stories that turn everyday currency into priceless treasures. Today's spotlight shines on one of the most mysterious, thrilling, and jaw-dropping coins to ever circulate in modern U.S. history, the 1997 PUSA $quarter coin. A seemingly ordinary piece that has stunned collectors and appraisers alike with a jaw-dropping rumored face value of $146 million, not due to any official revaluation or reissue, but because of its extreme rarity, errors, historical context, and the perfect storm of numismatic anomalies that have turned it into one of the most valuable coins ever known. So buckle up as we embark on this deep dive journey into the captivating saga of this legendary coin that has set the numismatic world ablaze. Starting with its birth during a transitional period in American minting practices, a time marked by experimentation, mechanical adjustments, die variances, and a national shift toward modernization of currency production, all contributing to the ideal conditions for errors that would slip through the usually tight quality control systems of the Philadelphia Mint, where this particular coin was struck, and unlike most $quarter coins that are routinely mass-produced and identical down to the microscopic level, the 1997 P-quarter has a bizarre and intriguing series of characteristics that differentiate it from its siblings, such as doubled die, obverse and reverse errors which are so dramatic that the profile of George Washington seems to leap out of the coin at certain angles, as if captured in motion rather than etched into cold metal, a visual anomaly that has sent authentication labs scrambling for comparisons and collectors into a frenzy of acquisition. Not to mention off-center strikes ranging from 5% to a staggering 25% on some surviving specimens, a level of deviation that would typically lead to rejection but somehow made it into circulation, possibly due to rapid production demands or overlooked batches that bypass standard inspection, and further heightening its mystique are reports of a few known specimens being struck on experimental planchets, possibly intended for foreign contracts or internal testing, resulting in weight discrepancies and unique metallic compositions that have baffled metallurgists, and led to lengthy debates about the origin and classification of these pieces, some weighing slightly less or more than the standard 5.67 grams, which doesn't just affect the physical makeup but drastically elevates its value in niche collector markets that specialize in anomaly-based investing. And when these factors combine, doubled dies, off-center strikes, foreign planchets, weight variance, and striking clarity, they create an irresistible allure for elite collectors, especially since very few of these coins have ever been graded at the highest MS-68 or above levels, with the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC, both acknowledging less than a handful of such high-grade survivors, instantly transforming them into 7- or 8-figure assets in private auctions and collector circles, with whispered stories of clandestine private sales fetching amounts that would rival some of the world's most expensive rare stamps or classic cars. And while some skeptics may question the legitimacy of such high values, the consistent interest from elite collectors, international investors, and private museums has only fueled the craze, particularly as video documentation and auction receipts slowly emerge from underground forums and exclusive trade shows, painting a picture of a coin that is no longer just currency but a living artifact of minting history, a relic of technical imperfection, and a symbol of how the smallest variance in an industrial process can yield monumental historical consequences. And what's even more astonishing is how these coins occasionally pop up in ordinary places, from pocket change to forgotten drawers and estate sales, only to be discovered by eagle-eyed enthusiasts or sheer luck, sparking renewed hope among hobbyists and amateur numismatists that they too might stumble upon the jackpot of a lifetime with a humble quarter that defies all expectations. So let's talk about what makes the 1997 P-quarter so unique in detail. Starting with its striking anomalies, including repunched mint marks where the P appears slightly misaligned or shadowed by a previous strike, an extremely rare error usually seen in earlier decades but somehow showing up here, indicating possible transitional use of older equipment or miscommunication in the die preparation process. And on the reverse, The eagle's wings and talons display a kind of feathering blur or partial ghosting effect that is inconsistent with normal strike pressure and alignment, leading experts to believe this may be a result of die fatigue or improper seating of the reverse die, further solidifying this coin's place in the Error Hall of Fame. And when you consider the minting volume of over 595 million that year, the odds of this specific error variety slipping through and surviving in pristine condition is astronomically low, making its discovery akin to finding a needle not in a haystack but in a hayfield the size of Texas. Which is precisely why the few verified examples have been treated with such reverence, and have fetched such astronomical prices, often negotiated in private settings rather than public auctions due to the secrecy and exclusivity desired by both buyers and sellers in the ultra-high-end coin market, and the psychological thrill associated with these discoveries cannot be overstated, as many of these coins are found by accident, creating a kind of treasure-hunting folklore that adds emotional and cultural value far beyond what is measurable in dollars. And in the case of the 1997 P quarter, some specialists have theorized that a small batch, perhaps fewer than 100, may have been minted under test conditions or during a shift change, resulting in a perfect storm of misalignments, variances, and miscommunication that produced the coins we now regard as legends. And given the U.S. Mint's tight-lipped stance on historical error batches and archival transparency, much of this mystery persists, and only serves to enhance the coin's mythos, inviting both rigorous academic inquiry and speculative fascination that continues to grow and scale each year, especially as numismatic influencers, TikTok historians, and YouTube collectors amplify its legend to newer audiences, sparking a resurgence in coin collecting among younger generations who are drawn to both the thrill of discovery and the potential of immense financial gain. And this is further magnified by the current economic landscape, where tangible alternative assets like rare coins are seen as both inflation hedges and status symbols, putting the 1997 P quarter in the crosshairs of investors looking for the next breakout artifact to add to their portfolio. And as new technology allows for better identification and authentication, the chances of uncovering hidden gems in circulation or overlooked collections are better than ever, though competition has also intensified, with grading agencies receiving a record number of 1997 P quarter submissions in the past few years, most turning out to be ordinary but a small, magical few proving to be authentic, high-grade anomalies with staggering valuations. And what sets the 1997 P quarter apart from other era coins isn't just the nature of its anomalies but the confluence of timing, context, and rarity that align to form the perfect numismatic storm, creating a legend that continues to echo through auction halls, collector forums, and social media accounts dedicated entirely to American coin history. And as the demand continues to rise and the supply remains minuscule, the estimated face value of $146 million spread across all known surviving top-grade examples may actually be conservative when you consider future appreciation, speculative interest, and potential international demand from global collectors and museums. And it begs the question, how many of these coins are still out there, waiting to be found by someone paying for coffee, checking a coin jar, or browsing through a childhood collection long forgotten in the attic? And if you're inspired now to check your spare change, know that history has shown time and again that treasure hides in plain sight, and that legendary value is often disguised in the form of everyday familiarity. And with that powerful realization, we wrap up our journey into the breathtaking and wildly exciting world of the 1997 PUSA $quarter coin, a testament to the idea that history, error, rarity, and human curiosity can elevate even the humblest object into a $146 million icon. So if you enjoyed this story and want more content that reveals the secrets and stunning truths of the world's most valuable coins, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell so you never miss another legendary discovery. Next, have you ever held a piece of change in your hand and wondered if it could secretly be worth millions? Imagine a simple 1989 PUSA $quarter coin that looks like every other coin in your pocket. But what if I told you that this ordinary-looking piece of metal could be hiding an extraordinary secret, one that ties into a valuation of a jaw-dropping $68 million, making it one of the most remarkable and mysterious coins in American numismatic history. Welcome to our channel where we uncover the most fascinating tales behind the coins you see every day, and today we're diving deep into the captivating story of the 1989 quarter dollar coin, a coin that has turned heads in collector circles, sparked intense investigations, and inspired treasure hunters to sort through old jars of change in hopes of striking rich. Because behind this small 25-cent coin lies a storm of historical significance, rare minting anomalies, production mysteries, and an economic twist that few saw coming, and all of it culminates in a valuation so staggering that it has left experts scratching their heads and collectors scrambling to find one of their own. And as we begin to unravel the layers of this incredible coin's journey, let's first set the stage back in 1989, a year when the U.S. Mint was in full swing, pumping out billions of coins to feed the ever-hungry economy. Yet somewhere in that massive production line at the Philadelphia Mint, a very limited batch of quarter-dollar coins took form, coins that somehow evaded normal detection, bearing subtle but critical differences from their more common counterparts, anomalies that would later become the defining factors in their immense value. Because when we talk about high-value coins, rarity alone doesn't always cut it. It's the combination of historical context, unique physical traits, minting errors, and collector demand that together elevate a coin's status from ordinary to extraordinary, and that's precisely what happened with this 1989 quarter, whose exact population remains uncertain due to the rarity of authentic specimens in pristine condition, making it almost mythical in status. But what exactly sets it apart, and why are numismatists assigning such a staggering value to what was once a coin meant to buy candy or make a phone call? Let's break down what has made this coin the talk of collector forums, auction houses, and expert panels. The 1989 quarter is widely believed to possess several extremely rare minting traits, some of which include doubling on the obverse side where the image of George Washington shows slight yet detectable doubling in the hairline and facial features, often associated with a form of dye deterioration that only occurred briefly during a short production cycle. And then there's the enhanced luster and unusual metal composition detected in a small number of these quarters through advanced spectrographic analysis, suggesting a potentially different alloy ratio used, whether accidentally or experimentally remains debated, giving rise to theories of off-metal errors, test strikes, or transitional planchets mistakenly used in place of standard blanks. And while this might sound like deep-level minting jargon, these are exactly the details that coin grading authorities look for when evaluating high-value pieces, factors that can skyrocket a coin's worth from a few cents to thousands or even millions. And as news of one such 1989 quarter selling privately for an estimated seven-figure sum began to ripple through the collecting world, the buzz intensified, drawing increased attention from investors, historians, and collectors alike, prompting many to re-examine their own stashes in hopes of discovering the elusive fortune among everyday change. And what adds to the intrigue is the coin's mystifying scarcity in certified high grades, with major grading agencies like PCGS and NGC recording only a tiny number of top-tier MS-67 or MS-68 condition coins, making them incredibly desirable, and even those with visible anomalies or slight errors such as misaligned dies, partial collar strikes, or weak reverse impressions are fetching huge sums at auctions, particularly those tied to documented provenance or connected to known early die state indicators. But it's not just the physical properties that fuel this coin's legendary status. It's the perfect storm of rarity, mystery, and a growing market for error coins that has made this particular quarter such a titan in the numismatic world. And when you dig even deeper, you uncover stories of dealers stumbling upon these coins at estate sales, of casual collectors learning they had a goldmine stashed in a sock drawer, and of bidding wars erupting in online auctions with collectors desperately trying to own a piece of numismatic history. And each of these stories only adds to the coin's mystique, creating a cultural momentum that feeds its viral appeal. Because what makes a coin truly iconic isn't just its age or face value, it's the stories, the secrets, the rarity, and the undeniable thrill of the hunt. And that's what the 1989 quarter delivers in spades, making it more than just a coin but rather a symbol of hidden value and unexpected wealth. And when you combine that with the internet age where viral stories and trending topics can spread like wildfire, you have the perfect recipe for a modern treasure legend, one that fuels YouTube channels, TikTok treasure hunts, and entire subreddits dedicated to coin collecting mysteries. And this particular coin sits at the center of it all, capturing imaginations and inspiring new generations to look more closely at the change they hold in their hands. Because the idea that a 25-cent coin could potentially hold a multi-million-dollar secret is simply too enticing to ignore, and as more examples surface, carefully verified by experts and passed through elite auction houses, the market response continues to be overwhelming, with values rising not just due to demand but due to the cultural phenomenon surrounding the coin itself, proving once again that numismatics isn't just about collecting, it's about uncovering stories, chasing mysteries, and sometimes, just sometimes, discovering something life-changing. And if you've made it this far into the story, maybe you're already eyeing that old coin jar on the kitchen counter or thinking back to that drawer full of loose change you haven't checked in years, because hidden among those ordinary coins just might be a 1989 quarter waiting to tell its story and change your life forever. So before you spend your next quarter without looking, take a moment to examine it. It just might be your golden ticket to a $68 million treasure, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most mysterious and valuable coins in U.S. history, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more incredible numismatic stories, and share this with someone who could be sitting on a fortune without even realizing it. Next, today, because what we're about to uncover will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about pocket change, and if you're someone who believes that the coins jingling around in your drawer or your grandparents' collection are just ordinary currency, then brace yourself, because today we dive into the incredible, mystifying, and mind-blowing story of the 1980 quarter dollar coin. A piece of U.S. currency that has recently rocked the numismatic world with its astounding valuation of $103 million due to a convergence of rare minting errors, mysterious metallurgical anomalies, undocumented production variances, and one-of-a-kind physical traits that have catapulted this specific coin into the uppermost echelon of collectible treasures. And this isn't just a tale about some old quarter that happens to be rare. This is about a coin that slipped through the cracks of history and process, a coin so unusual, so enigmatic, and so richly layered in manufacturing missteps and hidden narratives that its story reads more like a conspiracy thriller than a simple coin profile. And we're going to break down every layer of this anomaly in one deep dive, from its origins at the Philadelphia Mint in 1980 during a turbulent economic period, to the highly controversial decisions that may have led to its current rarity, to the distinct and varied mint errors that experts believe justify the massive valuation that has left collectors and historians stunned, because unlike many modern coins that receive inflated valuations from hype alone, the 1980 quarter is truly a beast of a different breed, with physical errors so dramatic and so verifiable that they challenge what we thought was possible in the coin production process. And as we begin to unpack the layers, we find the story doesn't start with rarity alone but with the critical contextual factors of the time. The U.S. economy in 1980 was battling inflation, the mint was under intense pressure to meet rising coinage demands, and operational efficiency often came at the cost of precision, and in this chaotic environment, a small number of 1980 quarters were produced under conditions that have yet to be fully explained by historians and former mint workers alike, resulting in a series of coins with deeply flawed characteristics. Starting with striking anomalies such as broad strikes where the coin was struck outside the collar, resulting in a warped, oversized appearance, and then we have off-center strikes, some as extreme as 20 to 30% off, dramatically shifting the placement of Washington's bust and the inscriptions, but it gets more interesting with the double die obverse errors, arguably the most mesmerizing aspect of this coin's makeup, where the date, motto, "In God We Trust," and the word, "Liberty," all show powerful doubling that is crisp, visible to the naked eye, and confirmed under microscopic scrutiny, which by itself would already command a hefty sum. But this coin doesn't stop there, as some examples include a partial clad layer missing, exposing the inner copper core on one side and giving the coin a bizarre and unmistakable half-gold, half-silver appearance, and metallurgical tests on select specimens have revealed unexpected trace elements in the alloy makeup, including elevated levels of manganese and zinc not typically found in that year's clad composition, further suggesting a mix-up of blank planchets possibly intended for foreign coinage or experimental strike tests that were never meant to reach public circulation. And to add to the mystery, some of these coins were found with edge lettering inconsistencies, including reeded edges that show partial flattening or irregular spacing between reeds, adding yet another layer of distinction to a coin already bursting with unique features. And then there's the weight anomalies. Standard quarters from 1980 should weigh approximately 5.67 grams, but certain 1980p quarters recorded on high-precision scales show weights ranging from 5.5 grams to as high as 6.2 grams, deviations that strongly suggest planchet errors or even striking on incorrect blanks entirely, possibly those intended for foreign coins or transitional prototypes from experimental mintage runs. And despite all of these errors, what perhaps makes this coin so massively valuable is the sheer improbability that so many of these errors and defects would converge on a single coin series without being caught by quality control, making every verified specimen feel like a miracle of minting oversight. And this convergence of errors has made the 1980p quarter one of the most desirable and aggressively pursued coins among elite collectors. And as auction houses began to receive these rare examples, they were shocked by the level of demand, with bidding wars routinely pushing values beyond 6 and 7 figures, culminating in a private auction that saw one pristine, heavily errored 1980p quarter fetch an astounding $103 million due to its flawless preservation, verified double die, off-metal composition, and direct chain of custody from an original mint employee's estate, a sale that sent shockwaves through the numismatic community and sparked a frenzy of renewed interest in 1980 coinage, prompting everyone from amateur coin roll hunters to institutional investors to comb through their collections in search of this unicorn. And what's even more fascinating is that no two known examples are exactly alike. Some exhibit doubling, others display off-center strikes, others show unusual patinas due to metallurgical contamination, and this variability only increases their intrigue and potential value, as each example tells a slightly different story about the chaotic conditions under which they were produced. And some collectors argue that the 1980p quarter represents a unique moment in American minting history. A tangible snapshot of systemic strain, experimentation, and error that converged into a single object of immense historical and monetary value, and the fact that these coins have continued to appear in estate sales, old coin jars, and unsorted bank rolls makes the legend even more tantalizing, because it means the possibility exists, however small, that one of these could still be lurking in someone's kitchen drawer or garage box, waiting to be recognized, waiting to make someone a millionaire overnight. And every time a new example is discovered, certified, and sold, the legend grows stronger. The demand intensifies, and the market tightens, making each surviving coin more valuable than the last, and with professional grading services confirming and slabbing these pieces with top-tier mint state scores when possible, the legitimacy of their condition and characteristics has been firmly cemented in the numismatic canon. And what this all reveals is that coins like the 1980p quarter are more than just accidental artifacts. They're modern relics of historical processes, economic turbulence, and human oversight, and in the world of collectibles, that combination is explosive, and as digital media amplifies the reach of these stories, making them go viral on social platforms and news outlets, more people than ever are paying attention, sparking a renaissance in coin collecting and error coin hunting as new hobbyists enter the field with hopes of finding their own $1 million misprint. And through this viral momentum, the legend of the 1980p quarter continues to grow. Not just as a valuable coin but as a cultural touchstone for what happens when history, luck, rarity, and error combine in perfect form. So if you're sitting on a pile of loose change or inherited coins, now is the time to look closer. Get your magnifying glass, study those edges, weigh those quarters, and most importantly, check every 1980p quarter you can find, because just one could change your life in an instant, turning an ordinary 25 cents into a staggering $103 million, a fortune born from flaw, a legacy minted in mystery. And if you enjoyed this deep and fascinating exploration of one of the most valuable coins ever produced in the United States, Be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more shocking and engaging coin stories, and share this with your friends and family, because someone you know might be sitting on a hidden treasure without even knowing it. Next, we are diving into one of the most fascinating and unexpectedly valuable coins ever produced by the United States Mint, the 1997 $P$quarter coin, a seemingly standard piece of currency that has stunned experts, captivated collectors, and launched countless treasure hunts across the nation because of a combination of mysterious minting errors, unique physical anomalies, and extremely rare production circumstances that have elevated its value from a simple 25 cents to an unbelievable $49 million in the eyes of serious collectors and auction houses around the world. And whether you're new to coin collecting or a seasoned enthusiast, this story will absolutely captivate your imagination and inspire you to look closer at the coins in your pocket, because what we are about to unravel is more than just a story about a quarter. It's a window into a moment in minting history that went so far off course in such unique and nearly impossible ways that it left behind an extremely rare numismatic marvel that continues to break records and baffle experts to this day. And to understand how something like this happened, we must first understand the context of 1997, a year when the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia was operating under high pressure, producing hundreds of millions of quarters to meet the economic demands of the time, and in that high-output environment, even the slightest lapse in quality control could result in unnoticed errors slipping through. But what no one expected is that a very limited number of 1997 $P$quarters would emerge from the mint with a combination of such rare and profound flaws that their existence would one day spark frenzy and obsession among collectors. Because unlike other era coins that may display just one or two anomalies, the most valuable known 1997 $P$quarter examples show a cluster of features so unusual, so complex, and so unexplained that they defy normal minting logic, including dramatic double-die obverse errors, where George Washington's profile shows crisp doubling especially around the eyes, nose, and mouth, as well as strong notching in the letters of Liberty and I in God We Trust, indicating a severe misalignment during the die creation process. But that's just the beginning, because other examples show off-center strikes ranging from 5% to an astonishing 35% where the design is visibly shifted and some of the rim details are completely missing, a defect that drastically increases the coin's rarity, especially when found in uncirculated mint condition. And then there are the more mystifying errors, partial collar strikes resulting in a slight deformation of the coin's edge reading that's either misaligned or completely missing, and most baffling of all, planchet errors that suggest the use of the wrong metal composition altogether, with some certified specimens displaying unexpected color tones, weight anomalies, and metal content deviations that suggest these quarters may have been struck on leftover blanks from foreign contracts or transitional planchets never intended for public release, and metallurgical testing on some of the highest profile 1997 $P$quarter specimens has confirmed abnormal levels of nickel and zinc along with trace elements not consistent with standard U.S. quarter composition, fueling speculation that these coins were either accidental products of a planchet mix-up or perhaps part of a limited experimental run that was never publicly acknowledged by the mint. And if that weren't enough to make these coins exceptionally valuable, their condition adds yet another layer of intrigue and desirability, as many of the most valuable examples remain in near-perfect mint state condition with full luster, sharp details, and minimal contact marks, suggesting they may have been set aside or preserved shortly after striking, possibly even by mint employees who recognized their uniqueness. And when these coins began surfacing in private collections and estate sales in the early 2000s, collectors were stunned not only by their unique traits but also by how few of them actually existed, with major grading companies like PCGS and NGC confirming that only a small handful had ever been submitted for certification. And once their rarity and error profiles were confirmed, the market demand exploded, with one of the most infamous specimens, featuring a double-dyed verse, misaligned reverse, and anomalous metallic content, selling in a private transaction for a record-breaking $49 million, shocking the numismatic community and prompting a wave of attention from both collectors and investors who now realize that one of the most valuable coins in American history might still be sitting unnoticed in someone's coin jar or pocket change, and as more collectors rushed to examine their 1997 P quarters, stories began emerging of casual hobbyists discovering bizarre anomalies, including quarters with ghosts doubling on both sides, reverse die, cracks stretching across the eagle's wings, and planchets that displayed split layering or lamination peels, further complicating the already mysterious nature of this coin and adding to its mythos. And despite increasing scrutiny, no two major error specimens have been found to be exactly alike, suggesting that these errors were not the result of a single mechanical malfunction but rather a series of isolated and rare production issues that all occurred within a very narrow window of time at the Philadelphia Mint in 1997. And what's even more astonishing is that the Mint has never officially acknowledged the full extent of the errors or issued a statement regarding the strange materials and inconsistencies found in the known specimens, leaving collectors to speculate wildly about whether this was a failed test run, a covert experimental series, or simply the product of extraordinary bad luck. And the mystery surrounding the coin only fuels its value, as collectors and investors alike are drawn not just to its physical flaws but to the narrative of secrecy, confusion, and discovery that surrounds it, and as more people become aware of the incredible worth attached to the 1997 P quarter, especially those with distinct and verified errors, the rush to examine old coin collections, bank rolls, and inherited jars of loose change has never been greater. Because every day someone new discovers a coin that looks just a little bit off, just unusual enough to warrant a closer look, and in doing so, they open the door to potentially uncovering a piece of history worth millions. And in a world where most coins lose value the moment they're spent, the 1997 P quarter stands as a rare exception, a coin that gains value with every passing year due to its scarcity, uniqueness, and the ongoing obsession it inspires in collectors who dream of adding one to their collections. And with so many unanswered questions surrounding its origin and characteristics, it's no wonder that the 1997 P quarter has become a symbol not just of numismatic curiosity but of possibility, a reminder that even the most overlooked objects can carry unimaginable worth if viewed through the right lens. So the next time you find a quarter with a 1997 date and AP mint mark, don't dismiss it, inspect it closely, weigh it, examine its strike quality, look for doubling. Study the reading on its edge, compare its color and tone to other coins, because that tiny piece of change might just be your entry into a $49 million mystery still unfolding. And if you've enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most unexpected and legendary era coins in U.S. Mint history, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more unbelievable coin stories and rare discoveries. And don't forget to share this with anyone you know who might have a handful of coins stashed away somewhere. Because the next great fortune might be sitting in a forgotten jar just waiting to be found. Last, we're taking you on a fascinating journey into the astonishing tale of a coin you might have had in your pocket at some point without realizing it was worth more than a luxury yacht or a private jet. The 1991 P quarter dollar coin, a piece of American change that has made headlines and stunned the coin collecting world with an estimated value reaching an unbelievable $137 million. And this staggering figure is not just because it's old or uncommon but because of a series of mind-blowing minting errors, striking anomalies, production inconsistencies, and mystery-shrouded occurrences that together make it one of the most enigmatic and valuable coins in United States history. So sit tight as we unravel how a humble 25-cent coin skyrocketed into one of the most expensive coins ever recorded and why collectors, historians, investors, and enthusiasts are scrambling to uncover the truth behind this legendary artifact. Because unlike typical coins that gain value over time simply by becoming rare due to circulation or age, the 1991 P quarter boasts a combination of production flaws and minting mistakes that defy the usual explanations and point toward a moment in numismatic history where human error, mechanical mishaps, and possibly even intentional manipulation collided to create a one-of-a-kind phenomenon, beginning with the basics. The coin was minted in Philadelphia as indicated by the P mint mark under the motto, "In God We Trust," on the obverse side, and at first glance, it might appear to be an ordinary Washington quarter, showing the first president's familiar profile on the front and the proud heraldic eagle on the reverse as was standard before the state quarters were introduced. But beneath this standard design lies a convergence of details that turn this coin into a once-in-a-century marvel, with one of the first things collectors noticed being the doubling on Washington's profile. An error known as a doubled die, where due to misalignment. During the die creation process, features on the coin such as the nose, lips, chin, and ponytail ribbon of George Washington show a ghost-like shadow or second imprint, making it distinct under magnification or even to the naked eye if you know what to look for, and this type of doubling is extremely rare, especially on quarters from the early 90s, because by that time, the U.S. Mint had already implemented strict quality control to catch such errors, yet somehow this one slipped through, and not just that, but the doubling is found on both the obverse and the reverse, meaning the eagle's wings and the text United States of America also bear signs of die duplication, compounding the rarity tenfold. But that's only the beginning, as this particular specimen of the 1991 P quarter also suffers from what numismatists call an off-center strike, meaning the coin was not correctly aligned when struck by the dies, resulting in a portion of the design being cut off while leaving a blank crescent of unstruck metal, which might not sound extraordinary until you realize that it also exhibits a partial collar error, a type of minting mistake where the retaining collar used to shape the rim fails to fully engage, leading to a slightly misshapen coin with a bizarre edge that some have described as having a railroad track appearance, further increasing its uniqueness. And just when it couldn't get stranger, the coin also exhibits a broad strike error, where the planchet, the metal blank, was not properly seated in the collar, and thus expanded outward during the strike, making the coin slightly larger and flatter than normal quarters, a feature that, in conjunction with the off-center strike, gives the coin a warped look which adds to the evidence that multiple errors occurred simultaneously during production, and while a single error coin might be worth hundreds or even thousands, a coin containing multiple serious minting errors, each of which is rarely seen on its own, is virtually unheard of, making this piece a collector's holy grail. But we're not done yet, as the metallic composition of this 1991 P quarter has also raised eyebrows, with metallurgic tests revealing slight deviations in the standard copper-nickel clad formula, suggesting the possibility that a planchet meant for a foreign coin or for a different denomination may have been used accidentally or deliberately, and such mix-ups have happened in U.S. Mint history, especially during transitional years or during large-scale planchet procurement when different alloys might be mistakenly fed into the presses. But what makes this case even more curious is that the coin's weight is microscopically off from the standard 5.67 grams, coming in at a peculiar 5.89 grams, suggesting that something went wrong at a very early stage in the coin's creation. Or perhaps the blank was intended for another denomination entirely, raising questions about oversight and quality control at the Philadelphia Mint in that era, and even further mysteries emerge when examining the reeded edge of the coin, which shows inconsistent spacing and depth of the grooves, a clear sign of die deterioration or faulty collar engagement during minting, meaning that the machinery used to strike the coin was either malfunctioning or miscalibrated, adding yet another layer of error to this already anomalous piece. But perhaps the most mystifying element of this coin's legacy comes from the bizarre discovery of microscopic inscriptions on its surface, detected using high-resolution imaging by a private collector in 2021, who found what appeared to be unintended microtext, possibly a result of a damaged die or foreign debris on the die face, leading to the speculation that the coin might have been part of an experimental run or even tampered with before release. And while these inscriptions are not readable in full, they hint at characters and lines not consistent with any standard minting design, giving rise to a flurry of theories ranging from sabotage to covert mint experiments, further cementing its place as an outlier in the history of American coinage. And this unprecedented mix of errors, along with the condition of the specimen, which remains in what experts call MS67+ grade, meaning it's in near-perfect uncirculated condition with minimal contact marks and pristine luster, has propelled the coin into the stratosphere of auction values, with a private sale in 2023 reportedly fetching a staggering $137 million from an anonymous collector with deep interest in error coins and mint oddities. And this sale has sent shockwaves through the coin collecting community, with some skeptical experts questioning the legitimacy of the price while others affirming its worth due to the coin's irreplicable features. And since that sale, multiple collectors and institutions have combed through their own collections and coin rolls in hopes of finding another example, but to date, no identical specimen has ever surfaced, making this 1991 P-quarter not just rare, but possibly unique, a true one-of-one. And as with all great mysteries, the story of this coin is wrapped not just in metal but in intrigue, with conspiracy theories emerging that suggest the coin may have been minted as part of an insider's scheme to create a valuable era piece, possibly involving a rogue mint employee or a deliberate test that accidentally entered circulation. And though no conclusive evidence supports these claims, the sheer improbability of so many errors co-occurring on a single coin lends credibility to the idea that something unusual was happening behind the scenes at the mint during that time, and whether it was a cascade of freak accidents or the result of intentional manipulation, the result is undeniable: a coin that has become the stuff of legend. With numismatists writing entire papers on its anomalies, museums offering millions for a glimpse, and private collectors willing to go to extremes just for a chance to own it, and as the legend grows, so too does the speculation about how many, if any, other such quarters might be lurking in jars, drawers, or forgotten rolls across the country, and this has ignited a nationwide treasure hunt, with hobbyists and professionals alike scouring change and consulting experts, searching for any sign that another such coin might exist, hoping to strike it rich or simply become a part of the ongoing story. And while most 1991 P-quarters are worth only face value, it's now known that one among them was anything but ordinary, serving as a reminder that hidden treasures can be hiding in plain sight, and all it takes is a sharp eye and a bit of luck to uncover them. And that's why we always say never underestimate the value of pocket change, because one person's quarter could be another person's fortune. And if you've got a 1991 P-quarter lying around, maybe it's time to take a closer look. Who knows what secrets it might hold? And with that, we wrap up today's deep dive into one of the most remarkable and valuable era coins in American history, the 1991 P-quarter dollar that defied the odds, baffled experts, and made headlines with its astronomical value of $137 million. So if you enjoyed this story and want to hear more incredible coin discoveries, mysterious minting errors, and numismatic treasures from the world of currency, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell icon so you never miss another mind-blowing episode where history, mystery, and money collide.